Hey everyone, for Good Friday, we're going to have a longer reading from Isaiah 52 and 53. This is a passage that's probably pretty well known to us. It's long been associated with Jesus and how he died and why he died. You know, these servant songs, this is one of them we talked about another a couple days ago. I mentioned that originally they were about the people of Israel as a whole. They weren't just simple predictions of Jesus' life. And it's taught at the time it was addressing what they had suffered, which in a lot of ways was kind of their own fault because of their injustice, their idolatry, and yet God was still working through them. And then, as I mentioned, we can see them pointing beyond just Israel also to Jesus, because he's the one who kind of takes the place of his people. He's not replacing them. The fancy word for it is it's recapitulation. He's becoming their head, fulfilling the destiny that was always meant for God's servant. The whole community is seen in this one person. But ultimately, Jesus is not just doing that for Israel, he's doing it for all humanity. And so these words that we're going to hear, they point to the center of God's story that Jesus lives out for us, of a story of self-giving love and forgiveness. We see it in Jesus, so can we see it in ourselves? See, my servant shall prosper. He shall be exalted and lifted up and shall be very high, just as there were many who were astonished at him. So marred was his appearance beyond human semblance, and his form beyond that of mortals. So he shall startle many nations. Kings shall shut their mouths because of him. For that which had not been told them they shall see, and that which they had not heard they shall contemplate. Who has believed what we've heard, and to whom has the arm of Yahweh been revealed? For he grew up before us like a young plant and like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or majesty that we should look at him, nothing in his appearance that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by others, a man of suffering, acquainted with infirmity, and as one from whom others hide their faces. He was despised, and we held him of no account. Surely he has borne our infirmities and carried our diseases. Yet we accounted him stricken, struck down by God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the punishment that made us whole, and by his bruises we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We've all turned to our own way, and Yahweh has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and like a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. By a perversion of justice he was taken away. Who could have imagined his future? For he was cut off from the land of the living, stricken for the transgression of my people. They made his grave with the wicked, his tomb with the rich, although he had done no violence, and there was no deceit in his mouth. Yet it was the will of Yahweh to crush him with affliction. When you make his life an offering for sin, he shall see his offspring and shall prolong his days. Through him the will of Yahweh shall prosper. Out of his anguish he shall find satisfaction through his knowledge. The righteous one, my servant, shall make many righteous, and he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore, I will allot him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he poured himself out to death, and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bore the sins of many, and made intercession for the transgressors.